You're watching Tackle Talk Live, now into our 6th season as your #1 resource for bass tournament information, with a primary focus on both Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Your hosts, Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff and Territory Manager for Sportco Marketing, Kevin Jean. Two guys with years of successful tournament experience on all levels. Guys who understand the importance of good information. Anglers willing to share their knowledge to help you become a better angler. So pay close attention as these guys give you more insight on how, when, and where to catch winning stringers. Here are your hosts of Tackle Talk Live, Steve Graff and Kevin Jean.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with Territory Manager for Sportco Marketing, Kevin Jean, down there in Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm in Natchitoches, Louisiana. But hey, glad to have you. Looking forward. Got a good show planned for you today. Got some very interesting news coming out today. And we're going to have the man, Clint Wade. Kevin's going to come on and talk to us today.
Yeah, I mean, they released the news a week or so ago. But we, about Outlaw Outdoors eliminating forward-facing sonar going forward in 2026. We really just want to, break this down with Clint, how they came to this decision, which I know they released a video, but I want to peel that back a little bit more. I know they had the no forward-facing sonar tournament back in May, and kind of get, Cliff's, again, I know they released a video, but there's way more that we're going to be able to peel back on this and really jump in and dive in and get Clint's opinions on other trails that he kind of see what they've, get Clint's opinion on what they're going to do for 2026 and beyond.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I watched Todd Castledine a little bit last night on his last podcast. And, there's going to be, even the major tours, BASS is fixing to do something. MLF looking to make another change. I don't know. I like the MLF format right now.
I do.
I kind of wish they wouldn't mess with it. But anyway, we'll talk about all that. But you also got ABA Texas Pro League results from Lake Tyler. That's the tournament number 2 on the Texas Pro League. The changes outlaw. And congratulations, Keith Poche, local boy from out here at Natchitoches, lives in Alabama now. But won the James River, and that was Tackle Warehouse tournament, and won it. I mean, it came down to the wire, but he led wire to wire. Had a big bag on day 1, Kevin, and sacked them really good. But typical Poche.
Yeah.
I mean, backwater, nobody else could get to it kind of deal. I mean, hey, hats off to him, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that was to lead wire to wire an event like James River. I mean, that's a feat in itself.
Yeah, it really is. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to recognize a few of our sponsors. When we return, we're going to visit with Clint Wade of Outlaw Outdoors. You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We'll be right back.
A good marine dealer is hard to find, but a great dealer is even harder. But in Iowa, Louisiana, there's a marine dealer that falls into the great category, Power Implements Marine, South Louisiana's go-to dealer for all things related to the boating industry. A Minn Kota, Garmin, and Mercury dealer, guaranteeing you first-rate service in both sales and repair. A great selection of new and used boats to choose from, including Skeeter, G3, Ranger, Camus, and Go Devil. A knowledgeable staff that will treat you like family and are always willing to go the extra mile to ensure you walk out a happy customer. To see everything they have to offer, go to powerimplements.com or stop by 606 East Miller Street in Iowa, Louisiana. Plus, mention Tackle Talk Live and save $500 off a new or pre-owned boat, or $50 off your first service ticket. Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Nothing is worse than being sick on your family or fishing getaway. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in the hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your health care needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6 just south of Toledo Town, or call 318-508-5323. Very few stores are a complete one-stop shop, but Cypress Outdoors is such a place. A store within a store. Cypress is located inside 3J's 4-Way. Whether you need gas, food, drinks, or bait and tackle, they have it. Cypress Outdoors carries top-name fishing brands like Strike King, Sandtone, Spro, and V&M. Crappie jigs from Bobby Garland. Need hunting gear? They have it. Ammunition from rifle to shotgun shells. Deer scents from Buck Wild and Doe and Heat. Deer stands from Titan and feeders from T-Hanger. Cypress Knee has it all. Located off I-49, exit 127, just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors and let John Abram and his staff show you everything they have to offer. Or give them a call at 318-238-HUNT.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We appreciate you tuning us in today. This segment presented by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Toledo Health Clinic, Cypress Knee Outdoors, Toledo Bend Bass Series, Shimano, and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. And Kevin, if you mention Tackle Talk Live, what happens?
Get $500 off the purchase of any new or used boat, Steve, or you get $50 off your service ticket. So make sure, go by Power Implements Marine right there. It's just east of Lake Charles, and tell them the guys at Tackle Talk Live sent you.
And on the Tackle Talk hotline, we've got the main man with us today. I guess, Clint, I got another question.
Steve, he's on vacation too. He is coming to us live, probably from the beach, under a little tent on the beach.
Oh, well, yeah, with a little hottie toddy or something, Yeah. Well, Clint, the one question I got, who really runs this show? You or Stacy? Who's in charge?
Oh, that's not a question.
Can I just plead the fifth to just start this whole thing off?
Well,
let's get Stacy on. We can answer that question.
I want to congratulate you on the success of Outlaw Outdoors. I mean, I'm telling you, everybody that has ever fished anything that you have put on, you and Stacy put on, it's just been, I've never heard a negative word other than maybe one guy saying, well, they wouldn't let me in it. And I said, well, you shouldn't be in it because you're too good to be in it. I mean, come on, man. But anyway, he was a pro guy that thought he should be allowed to fish everything. And I'm like, no, stay in your lane, dude. Fish your stuff. But anyway.
Sure.
Clint,
We appreciate that, Steve.
Clint, how many years is this now? We're going into what year are we finishing with Outlaw Outdoors?
2026 will be the 10th year.
10th year. I thought we were close to that. Man, that's awesome. Congrats. And like Steve said, from where you guys have brought this, starting from scratch, congratulations.
Yeah.
To grow into what it has grown into. Y'all have done an incredible job. So congrats on that. Man, we're going to jump right into it though, Clint. So you guys released a video a week or so ago that you are not allowing forward-facing sonar for 2026. I know this is something that you have been thinking about all year. Y'all have been going down every rabbit hole, looking at every avenue. Why, do, don't, reasons. So this is not something that you guys just jumped into and said, oh, no, we're not doing that next year. I mean, you have studied, you have done your homework on this. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to you and let you kind of start with it. I know we did the Outlaw Outdoors tournament back in May. That was a no forward-facing sonar, and that was kind of your test tournament. Did not go maybe the way you thought it was going to go. Definitely did not go the way I thought it was going to go, as far as it didn't have as many entries as I thought it would.
But there was two big tournaments going on.
There always is.
What's going on?
But anyway, I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you, Clint, and let you kind of run with it, and we'll go from there.
Well, and Kevin, you're exactly right. This is not a knee-jerk reaction. It was very well thought out and planned, and you hit the nail on the head. If anybody's friends with me on Facebook, or my profile's public, you can go back for the last 3 months, and I've asked a ton of questions on Facebook, and some people thought I was just trying to stir up drama, and I wasn't. I was really asking for input, and I asked some questions. I asked one that was plain and simple. Are y'all on a scale of 1 to 10 right now versus 5 years ago? How much fun are y'all having? And it was like I say, 1 to 10, and I asked them to give me two numbers. How much fun did you have last 5 years ago, and how much fun are you having now? And so many guys said like 10 and 2 or 9 and 0. And that, to me, that is the biggest issue right now that tournament directors are facing, is these fishermen are just not having fun. But that doesn't give me an answer. I need
Yeah.
to know why they're not having fun. And that's where we kind of started our research. And, that was the beginning of the maze for Stacy and I. And so we kind of backed up. And, as you kind of alluded to, Kevin, we started almost, it was 9 years ago. And we really catered to the grassroots fishermen. And we were one of them. That's what we were. And we wanted our friends and the guys that we saw beside us at these tournaments that we were fishing, we wanted that to be our customer, our clientele. And so that's where we started with our brainstorming, if you want to say. And we just feel like that if you don't have a chance to win, that's the biggest issue that guys use to not have fun. It's not fun anymore if you don't have a chance to win. I mean, who the hell wants to go out and pay a $260 entry fee, $100 in fuel, $50 or $60 fuel in your truck to get to the lake, maybe a overnight rental or two, to not have a chance to win? That's stupid in my book. That ain't no fun.
Yeah.
So, then you got to ask yourself, well, why are these guys not having fun? Or what's causing this for them to not have a chance? And I think it boils down to there's about 8 or 10 guys right now on the lakes, not just Rayburn, but really on any lakes, that have perfected live scope. And let me say, first of all, I feel like all of us tournament directors have to have a disclaimer now, or fine print. We're not, or me and Stacy and I are not against live scope. We understand its technology. We understand the industry is moving forward. But at the end of the day, is live scope a good thing for our level of tournaments? That's the question we had to answer.
Yes.
And, these 8 or 10 guys have perfected live scope, and they're so dang good at it that that's the first 5 places, it seems like, in the majority of the tournaments, is of these 8 or 10 guys, 5 or 6 of them always catch 25 or 28 or 35 pounds.
Yeah.
And, when a guy comes and enters with his buddy and pays, like I say, the entry fee and the fuel, and he's got this money invested, and he catches 16 or 18 pounds, has a great day. I mean, 18 pounds is not hard to catch. I mean, not easy to catch. That's a great day.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And when he goes back home, whether it's to work or his wife or his kids, and they say, "Dad, honey, how'd you do?" "Well, me and Tom, we had a great day. We caught 18 pounds. "Well, good job, Dad. What won first?"
Yeah.
37.
Yeah. Yeah.
"Dad, you needed to catch another 5 fish. Will they let you weigh in 10? That's the only way you're going to win."
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Agreed.
Clint, you hit on a good point when you said a while ago about the level of tournaments y'all are putting on. Randy Despino called me when he made the decision to go no forward facing sonar. He asked my opinion. He said, "Steve, what do you think?" I said, the one thing you're doing for guys that are fishing your stuff, Randy, is you're leveling the playing field now. Now you've leveled the playing field with a lot of guys. They can't compete with the forward facing sonar, and they're not going to learn it. They don't want to learn it.
Yeah. Now let's go there, because Clint's right. Look, we're not picking on the guys that have put in the time and learned this forward facing sonar, and they have won a lot of money doing it.
Yes.
The only problem is guys that are not able to put in that time to learn it, they still want to go fishing.
Or can't afford it.
But, well, I mean, right, yes. But again, take myself, for instance. I don't fish nowhere near like I used to fish. When Clint started, I was at his almost every weekend. Me and Daryl fished every weekend. I don't fish like that anymore. So when I do get to go, if I'm going to fish a tournament, I'm going to practice. I'm going to try to find fish. I don't have time to learn it. I don't have the time to put in like these other guys had. Hats off to them, because they have. There is nothing wrong with doing what they did. It's just the average fisherman does not have the time and effort to put in to learn it like these other ones have.
Right.
I mean, Clint, would you agree?
100% agree with that statement.
Yeah, and therefore they can't compete. And there's nothing wrong with, hey, those guys are better than me. But there is, like you said, there's some 8 to 10 guys, all of Texas, that
Yep.
are just pulling away from everybody.
Yeah.
That
I fished against one this weekend. Yeah.
yes, I mean
He dominated. He had
the,
36 pounds in June
yeah,
on a body of water none of us have hardly ever fished in our life. And I'm like, how does
There you
that
go.
happen? But it was, and he's a great angler. Oh, he's a
right.
great angler. I think the world of him. But I'm just telling you, the closest one to him was 25 or 26, and then it dropped off to 18.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys were heads and above. They were scoping. And they told me they were. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
If I was good at it, I would be too.
No,
Yeah.
heck yeah.
No
Man,
doubt.
no doubt.
Clint, let's rewind here. So you announced this the Forward Face Sonar show. I mean the no Forward Facing Sonar tournament back in the spring, back in the winter actually, like February. You're going to have it in May.
Mm-hmm.
You had the tournament, and me and you talked before the tournament and after. We felt like you were going to get a lot more entries than you got. You got a good bit. I think 106. Am I right?
That's correct.
So you
But
had some good entries. I know there were some other tournaments going on, Steve, but I think Clint, you and I both expected you to have more. So let's go back to after this tournament happened. Is this you and Stacy? We got to go back to the drawing board because we didn't see the numbers we thought we were going to see.
we saw plenty of excuses, but we didn't see the numbers.
Right.
And when I say that, we averaged about 105 to 110 entries this year in every tournament except the Average Joe and the Father's Day. And the Average Joe was 142. The Father's Day was 138, I believe, the other day. So in our Outlaw Team Series is what I'm saying we averaged, 100, 110 in. So this was just a normal tournament for us. So do I wish we'd got 150? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it would have made our
decision.
So, yeah, hands down, I know what y'all want. And as Steve alluded to earlier, yes, there was a BFL that rescheduled on top of us. That got a few of my guys. High school baseball playoffs was that same, was going on that weekend. College graduation, there was a few schools around here that graduated that weekend. And then it was Mother's Day week.
Going on.
I think it was, yeah. So, you take all them and, they each got 4 to 5 entries. Well, there's your 30 entries right there that I'm missing.
Yep.
And, I tell you what I did have. I had 2 or 3 guys that did either send me messages or call me and said, I'm not fishing this weekend. And, of course, my answer was why, or my question was why. And one guy said, I've invested about $20,000 in electronics on my boat. I'm not going to vote to establish a trail or change a trail to where I can't use what I've invested in. And I would have high-fived him if it was a face-to-face conversation, because kudos to you.
Yeah.
Make a stand. I mean, and call me and tell me why you're not fishing.
Yeah.
And another guy, Cameron Roan, he tells me, I put in a lot of time to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
I would be a hypocrite to enter your tournament to vote against having it.
Yep.
And same thing there. I'm like, thanks for letting me know. I respect your opinion.
No, absolutely.
And so back to, the May tournament, it was useless to us for the most part. Yeah. The numbers just weren't there. So, we're back that Saturday night or Sunday scratching our head going, man, what do we do? And I tell you what, the final deciding factor was, and we kind of said this in the video, but when you go back and you look at the results of that May no-scope tournament, the weights were stacked in there. It was 18, or I think 21 something won it.
Yeah.
And I believe 16 got a check. But it was like the old days, 21, 20, 19, 19, 18, 18, 18. Now, let's go back to the same example I used a while ago about me and Tom, whoever the common guy that I said a while ago, him and his buddy go fish a little tournament. He's just an average grassroots fisherman, and they go catch their 16 pounds. They go home, same scenario. His son says, hey, Dad, how'd y'all do? Well, who did great? Well, what won? How much y'all have? 16. Well, what won? 21. That's not bad. That's one call away from A, winning the tournament, and B, getting a check. So they had a chance, in that scenario. And that's what brings the fun back. You want to feel like you have that chance. And that played a big part in our decision. And then here's something that was always in the back of my mind is, and Kevin, you had said you kind of want to go down this trail or avenue of who else is going to prohibit forward-facing sonar next year. I don't know. I don't know if Champs is going to do it. I don't know if Texas Train Trail. So where I am, I feel like somebody needed to. Not to be the big dog and flex. That's not me. I feel like somebody needed to do it to either be right or be wrong next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I feel like, let's go down this trail for a second. Let's say, again, y'all heard me say we average 100 to 110 this year. That's going to be the standard for us next year. If we come back and we have 65 boats average in each tournament, to me, that's a win for the industry, not for me, because that's not a very profitable year. But you know what? Champs, Texas Team Trail, all the little bass clubs, Sealy Outdoors, they can look at us and go, you know what? He was dumb and made a bad decision. But I know now not to make that decision. We know what the majority of the anglers want.
Well,
there will be more eyes
can,
on Outlaw Outdoors this year than ever before.
And
absolutely.
Oh, without a doubt. And here's the other thing, Clint, that look, bass fishermen are very selfish. Look, I've been doing this since 1990. They're a very selfish group of guys. They always want what's in the best interest for me. Okay. Now, what they don't understand, and I've tried to explain this to guys, the top 10% that cash a check at a tournament, that's not who tournament directors are catering to. They're catering to that group of guys that hope to just get a check. If they come in 40th and they get $100, that paid for their gas. They're perfectly happy. You've got to cater to the other 80 or 90% more than you got to cater to that 10% that win all the time. That's what people don't understand. That's how you have a great circuit.
You're exactly right. And, if you pay one place for every 5 entries, that means you pay 20% of the field. So 20% of your field are winners.
Yes.
The other 80%, everybody else that I've ever talked to, they call them donators or losers. I call them hopers is what I call them.
Yeah.
They're there hoping to win. And so from moving forward in this conversation, I'm going to refer to them as hopers. You cannot make those winners mad. They're going to be there no matter what. I can tell them they're ugly. Their boat's wrong. They're blah, blah, blah. They're going to come back. A winner you cannot make mad. The hopers are the ones that you have to really feel like that you pay attention to and that you're hearing them. And again, we built our trail, I won't say just on the hopers, but on these grassroots fishermen that felt like they could express their opinion to us and we would listen.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those fall into that hoper category.
And Clint, also, if when they go home and the wife says, well, how'd you do? Well, I got to check. They don't usually ask how much. I got to check.
No.
And they are so happy. They got to check. That's all that mattered to them. And that's the percentage of the people you want them to re-enter every tournament.
Yes.
So,
and let's face it, 99% of the people that are fishing tournaments, you're not going to be profitable at the end of the year. If you take into consideration everything that you have spent, not just entry fees and boat fuel, I'm talking about your insurance, your registration. If you had to build a shop to put your boat in, I hope there's no wives listening to this conversation because they're going to be mad at their husbands for ever getting into the fishing industry.
Kind of like them deer leases. You got to be careful.
Yes. Deer leases, golf, racquetball. I don't care what the male species does.
Yep.
We're going to piss money off somehow on stupid stuff because that's what the male species does.
Yep.
Right.
But we're not chasing the dollar. We're chasing the W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And when you can't obtain that W, the fun's gone and you'll change your hobby. You'll start hunting. You'll start doing something different.
So, and you bring up a point, and I've seen several I watched your post on the video, and I watched several of the comments, I might say, and some of the guys are right. Well, look, years past, it's taken 30s or so to win, and then second place was 20. 100% right. But
Yeah.
if you look back at those tournaments, whoever had 30 or 32 or something, if I was in that tournament, I could probably take two guesses as to what baits they were throwing, the water depth they were fishing, to structure main time they were fishing. Only thing was they had figured out a spot or a location. I knew the changes I would have to make what I should be looking for to go get that weight. Hey, at the end of the day, now chances of me doing that, are slim, but I know in my head, I just didn't find the right spot. Nowadays, when the guys lose, it's I don't understand forward facing sonar, so I have no chance to win.
Yeah,
that's correct. And to that point, if I'm that guy that says I know that it was Brian Shook and Danny Isles that won this weekend, I know they were out there throwing deep diving crankbaits. I'm one trip from the tackle store away from having a decent chance of doing what they did. Now, am I? No, probably not. But I'm closer than if I look at a Hayden
closer in your head.
100%, because I know I'm thousands of hours on the water away from being a Hayden Heck when it comes to live scope.
Yeah. But you take a guy like Danny Isles. Danny Isles don't even have, at least last time I talked to him, he don't even own live scope.
No, they despise it.
Yeah.
They do not like it. They want to go fish old school.
Yeah.
And, that's a whole nother subject we could get on is, what this has done to the art of fishing. But maybe that's for another time and another day. But, when I've already kind of called out a Hayden Heck, I will tell y'all something. Hayden is going to win money or win some of our tournaments next year because Hayden Heck puts in his hours on the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of these other scopers are going to do the same. They have just turned their focus from dragging a Carolina rig or a jig or deep cranking over to forward facing sonar. And now that's the tool they're using to win. They're going to bounce right back and win with some other technique.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Let's go. I want to take this in a totally different direction here. Kevin can relate to this. And Clint, you may have some background with USSSA baseball, softball, the youth leagues. In USSSA baseball, if you start winning tournaments, they bump you up. You got to go to different leagues.
Mm-hmm.
You can no longer play AA. You got to go play AAA now against much better teams. Is there a method to that kind of madness and that kind of thinking that if, let's just say a Hayden Heck wins 3 of your tournaments. Okay, Hayden, you got to fish something else. So you got to go to the next level. Is that something that maybe could be worked into a tournament system, or, okay, you've won 3, you're no longer allowed to fish with us. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there.
Well, I think it's already in place though, Steve. I mean, you have Clint and them do team tournaments. You have the Toyotas, you have the Opens, so on and so forth. I think you already have those level set tournaments.
But they're not forced. They're not being forced to go up. That's the difference.
Yeah, they can come down and pick on the Hopers and then get their money to go fish the Toyotas, get their teeth kicked in, and come back and rob the Hopers again and continue that cycle. And trust me, Stacy and I have put a ton of thought in how can we do that. And I'll say this because it's already been out there for 6 months now. It's Tater Reynolds. Everybody wants to say he's a pro. Well, Tater is just as an amateur as I am or Kevin is or anything. The only difference in Tater is he has his life set up to where he can put a lot more hours in on the water. That's nobody's fault.
Right.
Nobody's talking about the guy that tried to be Tater, that gave up his guaranteed income, whether it be a real job or guiding or whatever. Nobody's talking about the guy that tried to be Tater, and now he's got $15,000 in credit card debt because he didn't catch him like Tater can catch him. Then nobody talks about him.
Yeah.
They always shoot at the winner.
But does dead water rule eliminate a guy like Tater from possibly dominating? He still may win, but he's going to make it harder on if he can't practice every day up to a tournament.
With a scope, I don't think dead water matters.
Okay.
Yeah. When you go back to old school fishing, I think it does give the out-of-towners, the weekenders, more of an even playing field. And let me be clear here, there's never, ever going to be such thing as a level playing field.
Yeah.
You're always going to have guys that, A, you can relate to this from softball, Steve. A, they have more talent. B, they spent the last 18 of their 24 years on the baseball field. So they're just better.
Yeah.
That's life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
let me kind of finish my thought on cutting Hayden Heck if he was to win 3 tournaments. I don't want to discourage a guy from coming and doing well. You know, I want him to be rewarded for his hard work if he done it fairly. And anybody that wins one of our tournament and is paid, he's gonna assure you he's done it fairly and in the right way. And I've one of my questions earlier in the year on Facebook was, what if I eliminated the Derek Mundys, the Clayton Bullwares, the Chris McCalls, the Hayden Hecks? And overwhelmingly, the ones that spoke up said, I don't want that to happen because when I do win a check, I want to know that I beat some of the better guys. You didn't give this to me, in other words.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I would agree with that. You want that to be earned. You want to go out there. Yes, I would agree with that.
But Clint, do you feel like
is
this
that
is the younger anglers? What's going to be their reaction? Because there's the one. Okay, here's what I think. Even with BASS cannot wait for the Matt Herrings, the Gerald Swindles. They can't wait for them guys to retire. They really can't. Because then forward-facing sonar is not even an issue. It's only an issue because of the older guys. So when they all retire, forward-facing sonar in 5 years from now with the Elite Series, it won't even be an afterthought because everybody's going to be doing it. All the young kids have come up doing it. The older guys are gone. Nobody cares anymore. That's what's going to happen.
Steve, I've agreed with you on most everything every time you have you on the show, but I got 2 disagreements here now with you. First, Gerald Swindle, BASS does not want to lose that guy for obvious reasons.
No.
Well, I get the clicks that they bring to the show, but I'm talking about from a fishing standpoint. Yes,
sure,
I totally understand the value of Gerald. I get that.
Right. But there'll be a 22-year-old, I hope, step up and replace the comedy of Gerald Swindle eventually.
I don't know if we'll ever have that.
Yeah.
There will never be another one. There'll never be another Troy Aikman or, Tony Dorsett. But, the new generations, I guess I could say it like this, the new generations, Gerald Swindle, will pop up eventually.
Yes. But do you agree with the gist of what I'm saying? Do you agree with that?
I don't.
When these older guys are out, you don't think they'll all be okay? We're good with it. Let's go.
I'm going to take up for the young anglers here. Most everybody lumps these kids, and I say that with quotation marks, as scopers. When you say, oh, he's a high school fisherman, all these old farts look and picture that kid in their mind. It's as a young kid, white Oakley's on with a flat brim cap, bent over looking at a live scope screen.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. There's not, all those kids ain't scoping.
Their
daddies don't have all the money in the world.
That's probably true. Yeah.
The ones that excel to the elite level, if they continue to allow forward-facing sonar, yes, I think your young kids that end up in the elites are going to be all forward-facing sonar fishermen because that's what's going to dominate to get there. And it possibly could be forgotten. The whole side image and all that is going to be a thing of the past. Everybody's going to scope if they don't get a hold of some rules to put into place to protect their viewership.
But you can't blame them kids for that either. You can't. But you can't blame them kids for that either because that's how you have to go in.
This is what they've grown up doing. They don't know any different.
100. Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah,
look, and I know Clint, you agree with me here because we've discussed this. I have tried. I understand the live scope. I can go do it. I can go catch fish on it. I can't go compete in a tournament on it because I haven't put enough time in. I'm not mad at those guys that do it and that are good and they have taken all of our money. I am not mad at those guys. It is hats off because you put in the time, you figured it out, you kicked all of our butts with it because we didn't. I am not mad at them for that. Let's make
No,
sure that's understood.
exactly.
And even for me
You have
personally,
honed.
I'm 64 years old, and I know I'm at the tail end of my fishing time. I may go 4 or 5 more years. I may fish till I'm 70. Who knows? But I've tapered or kind of tapered my expectations now. I know I'm probably not going to win. Now, can I still make top
Mhm,
tens? Absolutely. I can make top tens. I'm doing it.
mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
my chances of winning, like 36 pounds last weekend, and I'm in the top 10 with right at 15. I mean,
Mhm.
there's such a widespread difference between the scopers and the rest of the guys that aren't doing it. There's such a big gap there,
Yes.
and like you said a while ago, Clint, when you see the non-forward facing tournaments and how the weights are 21-1, and then there's a 20.95 and a 20.83 and a 20.21, they're tight.
Yep.
But with scopers, man, I'm telling you, and it don't take but one or two guys. They separate themselves quickly from the rest of the
And
pack.
I'll give you a live example of what just happened about 2 weeks ago. There's a boy over around Carthage, Texas, named Jace Lindsay. Young kid, atypical scoper, and the kid can win on Rayburn. A matter of fact, he is the one that won the ABA Solo 150 on Rayburn about a month ago.
Mhm.
And he went to somewhere around Abilene either last weekend or 2 weeks ago. I mean, we don't fish out there. Why the heck would you go to a lake out around Abilene? He went out there because I think there was 10,000 added to this tournament, and he goes out there and catches 39 pounds. You should not, I'm going to be an old guy when I say this, you should not be able to go to a lake, fish 2 or 3 days, and catch 39 pounds unless you're a scoper.
Yeah. There was a guy this past
And
weekend. I'll give you his name, Trace Antunes from Montevallo, Alabama. That's where the University of Montevallo is. I bet this is a kid from University of Montevallo that is a really good young scoper. He came in third with 20.57 pounds. And he ain't never been on Lake Tyler before. And
that's
you're
it.
like, dang, man. I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive what they
I've
can do.
used this example with a lot of guys that want to talk about scope and you just go learn it. No, in my opinion, it's like an old man that grew up in his parents' house, lives there now, and it's adjacent to the national forest. That old man grew up in that national forest. He knows wherever rabbit trail, hog trail, deer trail. When he goes and puts up his deer stand on opening morning, he knows like the back of his hand that those woods.
Yeah.
You let me come in and use a spotlight at night in the national forest to hunt deer.
Yeah.
I'll kill the same deer he's going to kill the first night I go hunt.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
Y'all.
No, that's a good analogy.
I hate this word, but that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the wildlife, and it's not fair to the guys that have, quote, paid their dues.
Right. Right.
But
So
also, we
talk
can't
about
say
how
it,
I'm gonna.
you can't change it over to last cup and say it's not fair, because we all can go put in the time and learn it.
100%.
But like you said, guys like Tater, who has taken this big risk by doing this, Cole Moore. It's what Cole Moore does for a living. I know he guides for a living, but he guides summer and winter. I mean, they have taken the chance on learning this. They have put in the time to learn this. So they have put in the work. I'm not saying the rest of us are not willing to put in the work. We don't have the time to put in the work. But there are more of us, like you said. You have got to surround your tournament around the bottom 90% of guys.
I've got to cater to the majority.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Clint, one last question here, because I know you're on vacation. Stacy's probably already mad at you. So, what is there more in the video? I know you guys kind of kept it. Look here, quick and to the point. Here's what we're going to do. Here's a couple reasons why. I want to dive a little bit more into that video as far as was there anything else you just didn't get to? You didn't want to throw too much on all of us at one time, maybe that brought the reasoning up, or some other avenues that y'all went down that brought y'all to this conclusion?
There was nothing major. It was, we've got guys that have fished I feel like every tournament we've put on since 2016.
Right.
Did I ask them their opinion? And do I value their opinion a little more than a guy that's just come and flown to us once a year for the last 6 years?
As you should.
You know, I'm loyal. I'm a loyal guy to a fault at times. So yes, I probably let that sway our decision a little bit, or my decision, my vote. And, you know, that was probably the most heartfelt part of it is, you know, I've got X number of guys that I'm very loyal to. And this isn't the first time I've texted or called and said, hey, what do y'all think? You know, when I changed our payout to pay more places, I, you know, called 15 guys and said, what do y'all think? And, you know, so that's one thing that we didn't put out there is I did have some input from our loyal, but they earned that input, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Over the last 9 years.
I agree.
And here's something we didn't address at all in that video is, first of all, we didn't even throw out there in the video that we were allowing 360, which I want to say one thing here, and we'll just leave it because I know you got time constraints here. The difference for anybody that's going to say 360 is the same as forward-facing sonar. The difference is forward-facing sonar is a video camera. 360 is a Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
There's your difference. You can see stuff move on your video camera. A Polaroid camera doesn't show any movement. And then another thing we didn't address was how the heck are we going to enforce this? And that's my answer is it's simple. It's very simple. We're going to enforce it the same way we've enforced all the other 1,362 rules that we've all had for the last 40 years of bass fishing: integrity and polygraphs. There's no other way. You know, we don't have the budget to put a marshal in everybody's boat.
Right.
You know, there's going to be guys that balk at a GoPro because, oh, you're going to go review the footage, and next thing I know, you and Stacy are going to be fishing on our spot. And could that happen? Yes. But it's not going to be because I steal the spot. It's going to be because we fished there already. But I'm not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Plus, I'm not going to go review everybody's footage, or top 10's footage on there. I don't want to. I don't have the time. This ain't worth it to me.
Clint, could you require the guys to use that little box? They got these boxes now you can put over the transducer. Could you require that as part of the rules?
Sure. And I thought of that, you know, maybe require them to buy it because, or maybe we could cut a deal as a sponsorship with one of these guys and do it. But I've got to see them, you know, we're kind of known as that fisherman friendly trail that allows these guys to trailer.
Yeah.
Well, now you've got the honor system of, are they going to put it on that morning?
Yeah, the whole box deal still, that still comes back to the whole integrity part of actually putting it on when you're a trailering tournament. So,
and until you have a box that has a different key for every box out there, I can buy Kevin a box and put it on. He can go down the store and buy another box at the tackle store. Guarantee it's just like a boat. You can crank every boat in America if you got about 6 different keys.
Yeah. And we all know there's less than a percentage of a guys out there that they'll do whatever they got to do to win. I mean, we know who, we don't necessarily know who they are, but we know they're out there because of all the people all the things that have gone on, especially in the last 4 to 5 years. Clint, have you ever seen it to this level where every tournament something's been brought? That's another reason so many guys have walked away. Drama, all the drama now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And all the drama's not just over the getting caught, you know, cheating or violating rules. There's more. Hell, forward-facing sonar's created enough drama, and that does run people away. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, to answer that question, no, I haven't. This past 6 months has been so much drama, and a lot of it has been more than I've ever seen about rule violations and stuff. I mean, go back and look at the Big Bad Splash and James Larimore.
Yeah.
That was a totally unintentional rule violation with his fire extinguisher. And he basically self-reported by saying, I don't have a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
You know, kudos to him, man. That shows me he's got so much integrity. But at the end of the day, is that drama? Yes, it is, because I saw numerous comments that said that fire extinguisher or not having that fire extinguisher is not going to change the fact that he caught that fish.
Yeah.
And I tend to agree both ways. He needs to be safe. He needs to abide by Coast Guard rules. But at the same time, that fire extinguisher did not help him catch that 10-pounder, or not having that fire extinguisher didn't help his chances.
Well, but I also think I think all the drama, and not just in fishing, but it goes back to all sports, all in life now. It's social media. I mean,
There you go, Kevin.
did we have this much drama 10 years ago? No, we didn't have social media. I
No.
didn't know about a guy getting DQ'd in Alabama because, unless I have somebody over there, I have no way of knowing about it. Well, now there's so many posts about it. There's so many media outlets that Wire to Fish and so on and so forth that I can see every day without having to go check their website. It's just going to post up on my news feed. So, that social media is bringing more drama. It's bringing more drama to sports in general on top of fishing. So
I can probably speak for all three of us. I felt like I was in the parking lot when they cut those walleye open up there in the north.
Yeah.
So there's your example. I mean, I'm mad at those guys.
Yeah.
And they're 1,200. I'll never see their faces.
Right.
But I feel like I'm right there with them, because of social media and all the other outlets that we have.
And the last thing you want to do is a tournament. Chris Bennett. I talked to Chris and James Larimore. I know him. Kevin, I know him real well. Great angler, just one of the best, honest people you'll ever meet in your life. Nothing intentional, and it killed Chris Bennett to have to DQ him over that one.
Yes.
Bob Seeley told me one time about a state trooper. His wife was fishing in the boat with him. He was going to win the tournament. He had to disqualify him because she wasn't a paid entrant, but she was in the boat just reading a book, and he had to DQ the guy. That as a tournament director, that would be hard to do.
It's not fun at times. 99.9% of the time, it's fun. That 0.1 will keep you awake at night.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Clint, man, we're going to let you get back to your tiki bar and your sipping margarita on the beach with your toes in the sand there.
Well, and I appreciate you not divulging or disclosing my location. I'm in the tournament director protection program down here.
Okay.
I thought when we released that video, and this is the last thing I want to say, and I'm bragging on fishermen for this. When we released that video, I was worried more about Stacy than I was me, because I thought there was fixing to be a molestation of comments come our way about y'all are dumb, y'all made the wrong decision, that woman don't need to be involved in a man's decision, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we really had one comment, and it was actually a private message to me, and I'm not going to say who it was, but we all know who it is, or we all know who the guy is, if I said it. And he said, I'm not fishing, I'm not going to fish your events, and it's because of this, this, and this. And, I replied back, I understand. And I do understand. I don't shop at Home Depot because I think Lowe's is cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody bashes me for that, for not liking Lowe's. Or maybe I said that backwards because I made it up. I'm not being truthful about that. But, everybody wants to condemn a tournament director for making a decision. But it's no different than any other restaurant. If you don't like their food, you don't go out and put it on social media and gripe about it and all that. You just don't go back and eat that food anymore.
Right.
So, but we got very, very, very little negative feedback. And I just, if the fishermen that are listening out there, I mean, thank y'all for being like that. Even if you disagreed with it, hey, I respect that you disagreed. And thank you for not being a turd and starting a firestorm on social media for really no reason at all, because we're not going to change our decision.
Right.
No, I agree with that.
Hey, and stand behind your decision. That's all you can do. And that's what anglers want. They want you to be firm. Hey, you made a decision. Let's go. Let's fish. Let's go.
That's it.
And,
let's get back to fishing like we used to, and the best men win. That's what
exactly. Amen. So,
Clint,
appreciate
I appreciate y'all having me on today.
Hey, we appreciate you taking the time out of your vacation to join us, man. We really do. We thank you for that.
Absolutely. And, hopefully I've given the fishermen some insight into our decision, right or wrong, whether you agree or disagree. Maybe you understand a little bit more of what it came down to, and only time will tell whether it was the right decision or not.
Right.
Do you want to give Stacy's number out in case they have a complaint?
Yeah, if you would. We're located at, I'll drop y'all a pin and y'all post that in the comments of this video.
I will be the first to say you don't want to mess with Stacy.
Oh, man.
I'm a little more diplomatic, probably.
Clint, man, I appreciate you coming on. We'll holler at you again soon.
Yeah, man.
Sounds good, y'all. Have a good day.
All right. That was interesting and fun, Kev. I always enjoyed having Clint on. He just, he's so well spoken, and you know, and that's why his tournament trail has been so successful. I mean, Outlaw Outdoors, it's a success story.
And Steve, when I tell you they have been debating this decision and looking and doing their homework since January of this year,
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
trying to decide what to do for 2026 since January of 25. And one thing that he said that I haven't thought of, that I agree with him 100%. Somebody in our industry locally in state of Texas, Louisiana, somebody had to do it to
yeah,
see. He's like, I might fail, but somebody had to do it as far as making a non-live scope tournament, bigger tournament trail. Matt Stewart at Toledo Bend Bass Series has done it, but he started his whole circuit that way.
right, right,
He didn't have an old five stringer limit tournament circuit, whereas Clint did. Bass Champs, Texas Team Trail. We can go on, go on, and go on.
right.
Somebody that has been there doing it for at least 5 years is saying, all right, we're not going to allow it. When I say all eyes will be on Outlaw Outdoors 2026, I mean all eyes.
Yeah, and all you guys out there that that's the reason why you haven't been fishing, you better show up. Okay.
Yes.
You
Yes.
better show up now because he's done you guys a favor and he's expecting in return entries. You know,
Yep.
okay, that's why
He's
you're
listened.
not fishing.
He's
Yeah,
listened to the majority of the
exactly,
anglers,
exactly.
and the majority saying we don't want it. So he's doing that.
Yeah,
You've got to support that now. If you've been
exactly.
one of the ones complaining, you
Yep.
have to support that decision now.
Show up and support the tournament trail, and be a part of that. Even if you're a part of the 80% that a lot of times don't get a check, but every once in a while you do cash a check. That's what makes the tournament trail so great. Is you got to have those guys that, let's just say it, they never win. You got to have those guys. A lot of guys are still doing it because they enjoy fishing. That's why they do it. It's fun. But anyway, all right. Enough of all that, Kevin. We're going to take another quick break, recognize more of our sponsors. We got lake levels, upcoming tournaments. Ain't many of those. We'll wrap up the ABA tournament that we just had on Lake Tyler. And let's see here. That's all I can think of. Oh, we got tip of the week. I got a good tip of the week. I'm going to get on my rant today.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, we'll be right back with more Tackle Talk Live when we return.
The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local fishing guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. 2 locations to serve you in both Nacogdoches and Bravos, Texas. Or give him a call at 936-205-4467.
The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live, our final segment. This segment is presented by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Toledo Health Clinic, Cypress Outdoors, Shimano, Power Implements Marine, located in Iowa, Louisiana, as well as Toledo Bend Bass Series. Kevin?
Yeah, Steve. So Toledo Bend Bass Series, a new tournament organization that popped up Toledo Bend this year. You can go check it out, ToledoBendBassSeries.com. It is a no live scope tournament, 100%, $180 entry fee, 100% trailering, no guides, no pros. It's a north versus south inlet, so one tournament will be north of Pendleton Bridge. The next tournament will be south of Pendleton Bridge, and then the championship will be one day north, one day south. I believe this weekend, yeah, Saturday is tournament number 8, the last tournament of the year, south of the bridge on June 28th. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure to get signed in. And then the championship will be September 20th and then September 21st. So, guys, if you're thinking about a tournament circuit to fish around Toledo Bend next year, you need to give Toledo Bend Bass Series a try. Go check them out. Schedule will be dropping soon for 2026. ToledoBendBassSeries.com.
All right. Real quick, here's some ABA results from Lake Tyler. I've never been to Lake Tyler till this past weekend. I will say this. My recommendation to Chris Wayan, tournament director, from now on, don't go there before or after May 1. It is a zoo. I'm telling you, the recreational boaters there is insanity. But anyway, had a good tournament, good turnout. Despite all the bad air with ABA, it's been going around on Facebook and Instagram, all this other negativity. The anglers that showed up were very positive, tickled to death to be fishing ABA, a tournament again, and having a tournament. I was impressed with the attitude of the anglers. They were pretty forgive and forget, let's move on. They paid out cash at the tournament, didn't write any checks, didn't have to worry about checks bouncing. And again, had a great turnout for this event on Lake Tyler. Zach Fogel, Angler of the Year, might as well go ahead and give it to him. He's probably going to win it again. Won it last year. Just got back from the All-American, a great angler. From Longview, Zach came in with 5 fish for 36.87. Wyatt Frankens from Corrigan, Texas. We all know Wyatt. He was there. He came in second with 27.84. Trace Antunes, which from Montebello, Alabama. I think that was the young guy. He had 20.57. John Maxey from Tyler, Texas had 17.70 and ran a top 5. Scott Cox from Tom Bean, Texas came in with 17.68. So again, overall, it was a tough tournament. The offshore bite for some guys was really good, and I tried that. I ended up catching all my fish. I finished 9th. I came in with mine were all basically boat dock fish or dam. I caught a couple off the dam, but I tried the offshore bite. For me, I couldn't make them bite. Could see them, could not make them bite. But anyway, some guys, Kevin, the one thing I'm not starting to figure out, I know this, talking to Nick LeBrun, our good buddy Nick LeBrun, when you're going out offshore, you got to commit to that.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go out there and try it for 30 minutes and then go back in to fish docks. And that's what I do. That's why I'm not successful out there. I don't have the patience. If I'm not getting bit, I'm thinking in my head, I'm a shallow water guy. God, I could be flipping that boat dock right there and catching fish, but instead I'm out here searching. It's a different way to fish. And for an old guy like me that's kind of set in his ways, it's hard for me to change, Kevin. It really is. It's been hard for me to change. I'm trying to adjust my thinking and I'm getting better at it, but man, but I can still compete in top 10s in flip docks. And I guess at 64, I'm happy with that. I don't know even what I'm trying to say. Hell, I'm just talking right now. But anyway, what we got coming up, Kev? We got some tournaments coming up.
So this weekend, Friday, Saturday, ABA Solo 150 is Lake Palestine.
Yes.
That's this weekend. Then also Saturday and Sunday this weekend, the Granger Team Championships on Lake Caddo.
Yep.
And then, as I alluded to a while ago, June 28th this weekend, Toledo Bend Bass Series south of the bridge tournament. So it'll be south of Pendleton Bridge. So that's what we got coming up this weekend.
And I think there's maybe one in July. Well, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it's Toledo Bend Bass. They got one more, I think, after this one.
No, this is the last one. Well, they got a makeup. They got a makeup. You're right.
That's right.
They got a makeup.
One more. So, okay, real quick, lake levels. Let's see here. Toledo Bend, 171.61. It is down 4.68 inches. They've had a 10-day loss of 1.56, so they're pulling on it. 24-hour loss of 0.48. Sam Rayburn, 163.76. It is 7.68 inches low, below pool. 10-day gain, 4.8 inches. So that rain, the showers and thunderstorms that have been hit and miss have evidently they've been getting some water coming in up north. 24-hour gain, 0.96. Kevin, Lake of the Pines.
Lake of the Pines is 234.07. It's a difference of 4.07 feet, so it's 4 feet high.
Yeah.
10-day gain of 1.96 feet and a 24-hour loss of 1.8 inches.
Yeah. And Lake Fork.
Lake Forest 403.29. That's difference of 3.48 inches high. 10-day loss of 6.84 inches, 24-hour loss of 0.12 inches. Steve, I went to Dallas this past weekend, coming back over I-20, and when I passed Sabine River, when I tell you that dude was up and flowing, it was moving.
Yes.
There's a lot of water coming down right now, headed towards Toledo Bend, but there's been a lot of water coming down Sabine River for the past 2 months is all the rain we've got. So,
and speaking of rivers, Red River, which I've had some guys ask me, man, what's the deal with the river? How long is it going to be up? Well, here's where you need to watch. Lake Texoma, whatever they're releasing out of Lake Texoma, that's coming our way.
Yeah.
That's where all of our water comes from. It's been up to 8 or 9 feet above pool there. Right now, it's only 3.72 feet above pool. So it's on the fall. It's coming down. I'm going to say by August 1, the Red River will probably be back to fairly normal levels again. It's going to take about a month for that to go down. And just in case, I know Chris Wayne's looking to put a tournament on it. I know there's another tournament organization looking to put a tournament on it. But right now, I came over it yesterday, Kevin. It's way above the rocks.
Yeah.
It's at the foot of the base of the sign. I mean, that's probably 5 to 8 feet over the rocks as we speak.
Ooh, that is high.
Oh, it's extremely high. And but anyway, all right. Kev, I'm going to rant here real quick, and this is just for my own benefit. Hopefully the guy that did it is watching. And if you are, I'm fishing a boat dock. Anytime an angler is fishing a boat dock, and this is for all you guys out there, you young guys that don't understand etiquette, my boat is facing one direction. Well, that usually means that's the direction that angler is going. An angler pulled up on the next dock within 20 feet of me, put his trolling motor down, knowing I'm going that way, and started to fish away from me. And those 4 or 5 docks he was on all had fish on them because I had shook fish off of them. And I started on my first one. He pulls in there and starts fishing immediately. And we had some, I got a little upset. I ain't gonna lie. It tested my patience because I knew he knew better. He knew better. Yeah. But I think what the deal was, he was angry because I was on the dock he really wanted on. And I pulled a Matt Herring on him. I catch a 6'3" out from under that dock. And I kind of looked at him. I raised that. Yeah, it's in the box. He's in the box. He's going in the box. But anyway, don't cut people off. Okay, come on, guys. I mean, I don't do that to people, and I'm not going to do it to people. If I'd have went to that dock, and that's happened to me several times, where I want to go certain dock, I know the fish are there, and you get there and you're like, God dog it, somebody's on it. Well, I don't pull up on him. I don't go one dock from him. I go away from him, 5 to 8 docks away from him, and I may fish. And I don't care if you even fish back towards me. At least you got away from me and gave me an opportunity to fish those docks. But anyway, that's my rant for today. Be careful out there, Kevin. We got heat advisory going on this week. Make sure you stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, plenty of fluids.
Yeah, and I don't think as much wind this weekend, Steve. So it's going to be hot this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And last weekend, like I told you earlier off the air, I didn't even notice it last Saturday because the wind was blowing 15 miles per hour at Lake Tyler. Didn't even feel like it got that hot. It was hot, but it didn't notice it. This weekend is going to be a different animal. So be careful out there. Kevin, you got Shimano? Anything Shimano product?
No, so Shimano, I can't say yes, Steve, because ICAST is coming up. But man, I just got back from the national sales meeting last week, waiting for my samples to come up. Man, that we got a couple new products coming that are the real deal, and some that are products Shimano currently has in inventory and stock, but they're revamping some of these, and I can't wait to be able to discuss it after ICAST. So it'll be fun. It's gonna be some new stuff. It's gonna be really cool.
I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit right here. ICAST. Rumor is this is it. This is the last ICAST they're gonna have. That's the rumor going around, that they're not. It's not productive like it used to be. Companies are wasting money and they don't want to spend the money to go anymore. Your opinion is that, you think that'll happen?
No,
I
no,
mean, we're talking a huge show. I've been there. You've been there a lot. I've been there a lot. I can't imagine them not having ICAST.
no. It's still it's not what it used to be.
Right.
But it is. How can I put this? I'm not gonna say it's necessary, but it is kind of in the industry, it is what we look at. Of course, is your product releases. That's where
Yeah.
everybody is very expensive for businesses. Are they getting their bang for the buck? That's a whole different subject. But it's not going anywhere. I don't see that as me not having. I've heard those rumors. I
Yeah.
don't know if I've trusted where those rumors are coming from.
Right.
I don't believe it's going anywhere though. Maybe
Yeah.
changing locations,
Right.
but not going anywhere.
And I would hate that for the industry, because like you said, that's where so much unveiling takes place of brand new baits. That's what I looked forward to going for,
Yeah.
was seeing all the new stuff, even new trolling motors, new motors, whatever it is, anything in the industry that was going to be introduced. That's where it was done. And but
Maybe some revamping with it. Maybe still have ICAST, but I could see it instead of it being a show and tell
yeah,
type deal, maybe revamp it in another way. Now which way that is, I don't know, but I don't see it going away. Again, it might be some things changed with it. It might be some locations, might be different things, but I just don't see it going away.
things going back to Vegas.
No, I don't think Vegas. And I'm not saying it's going anywhere. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
leaving Orlando. I forget. I know they had a contract with it, and I forget how long. I'm just saying that could be in the plans later on, just to give everybody maybe a new
Yeah.
look, just to bring some more people. I mean, look, every fisherman in Florida is there. It's starting to be mostly all Florida, unless you're a larger company. So I could see a change coming, but again,
Yeah.
just my opinion.
I know personally, I liked it when it was in Vegas. I know a lot of people got upset when they left Vegas, because from a company standpoint, like with V&M, it was easy for you to take somebody out to dinner. You were right there in the hotel. The convention center was right there. It was so centrally located. You could walk across the hall and you're in the convention center. You're in ICAST. You walk back to your room. I mean, everything was so convenient.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when it went to Florida, now you're catching buses, you're Ubering
Yeah.
to get to it. I mean, you have to make reservations, out away from place. I mean, it's just a different deal, a totally different deal. But I enjoyed them. I enjoyed all of them, whether they were in Vegas or whether they was in Florida. I still liked them.
Yeah.
Still had a good time. All right. So, okay, when are we coming back? Do we know yet?
So we're gonna have some other shows. We'll probably have one in July. We'll have some in the fall. We're done for our weekly shows as of now. But we will have some. Probably one more over the summer. We'll have a couple in the fall, and then one more in the winter. But as far as our weekly shows, this is it, guys. So thanks again for a great year. And we're calling
Yeah.
it a year because this is, we go January through June every week, most every week. It's been another great year. So thank you for that. I think our numbers are up. They've climbed just like they've done every year. We continue to climb, and it's unreal what we're doing on YouTube, Facebook. The numbers we're seeing is, it's still growing. So thank you for that.
I had two guys at Lake Tyler last week that wasn't even in the tournament, but they were fishermen that fished Lake Tyler, and they saw my truck, and I've got the Tackle Talk logo on the truck, and they wanted to know which one I was. Was I Kevin or was I Steve? So we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate you guys, coming up to us and telling us, giving us some feedback. And we still want your feedback. If you want us to talk about something specific or a certain lake you want us to start focusing on. Hey, let us know what that is. You can catch us on our Facebook page and just send us a message. Or if you see me or Kevin out at Toledo, Rayburn, wherever, I'm headed for Lake Palestine today. If you see us over there, hey, pull us aside. Say, man, I want to talk to you.
Yes, no, and that goes a long ways. It does. I was in Lake Charles Tackle visiting my dealer for my job last week, and while I was in there, and I was in there a couple hours, but while I was in there, I had 3 people come up to me to say something about Tackle Talk Live. So we do appreciate that. It means a lot to us to hear it. Steve, also, guys, if you're listening to this, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is the easiest way to get notifications of when we're going to have shows, since we're not going to be weekly anymore. And also, for another milestone, Steve, we have crossed 2,300 subscribers now on YouTube. So that number keeps growing. So again, thanks for that. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, get the notifications of when more shows get added.
Yep. I appreciate it. All right. Well, that's it for this week. And we'll catch y'all later on. Like I said, we'll have some special editions coming up in July and September. And until then, thank you for tuning us in. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, however way you listen to a podcast. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, even for 2026, please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will make sure to get you out a detailed packet. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.